Chapter 3.2 The Mindscape, where thinking talks back to itself. The wisdom of self-talk. Confucius, or someone pretending to be him, once observed, "Man who goes to bed with stiff problem wakes up with solution in hand." We now rescue that line from the gutter and give it a far more interesting and profound meaning. For thousands of years, philosophers have circled the strange phenomenon of the human inner voice. Long before psychologists named it inner monologue, Socrates was already treating his own thoughts as dialogue partners, observing that thinking is the talking of the soul with itself. Across the centuries, many have treated self-talk as a symptom of madness. Yet Socrates recognized it as a sign of mental vitality, a kind of private agora in which ideas negotiate with each other. 2 millennia later, René Descartes sharpened the point with cogito, ergo sum. The two worlds. If you are talking to yourself, someone is definitely home, and that someone is you. We inhabit two worlds simultaneously. One, the first is familiar, the physical landscape of rooms, roads, weather, and GPS coordinates. Two, the second is the mindscape, the vast interior territory where impressions accumulate, memories wander, and thoughts chase each other like animals on a plane. This internal geography is far larger than most people ever explore. Many treat the mindscape as if it were a museum exhibit, look but do not touch, while others use it like a workshop, a studio, even a battlefield where ideas are tested to destruction, the tools of the mind. Behavioral psychology moved the conversation forward as B.F. Skinner demonstrated that rewarded behavior tends to repeat, creating pathways and habits without our permission. Edward de Bono added the art of deliberate deviation, inviting us to leave the well-trodden paths and stumble into insights no one else had noticed. Neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, offered the missing toolkit, suggesting that the mind is both hardware and software, and both can be rewritten with surprisingly small interventions. Combine these traditions and a quiet superpower emerges. You can script your mindscape before sleep, hand the script to your dreaming self, and let the night shift solve the problem. The technique is almost embarrassingly simple. In the wake state, you create a short NLP script, written or vividly imagined, which captures the essence of the problem you want solved. The script should be sensory, specific, and emotionally charged enough that the mind treats it seriously. You load it like a VHS cassette tape or DVD, press play in your imagination, and then let sleep and lucid dreaming take over. The moment you become aware that you are dreaming, you invoke the script, placing the problem into the malleable clay of the dream itself. For those comfortable with lucid dreaming, the process becomes increasingly effortless with practice. The dream becomes a laboratory in which you can run experiments with the fluency of a deity and the playfulness of a child. By morning, you often wake with the outline of a solution, or at least a new angle you had not considered before sleep. It is not magic. It is harvested cognition, dreams and perception. A curious myth once claimed that only one person in 300 dreams in color, but like most myths, it was tethered to its era. In the black and white television age, the vast majority of people reported monochrome dreams because their waking memories were coded through monochrome screens. When color television became universal, the proportion flipped almost overnight. Today, between 80 and 90% of people dream in color at least occasionally, a result that would have made Marshall McLuhan smirk because the medium does not merely shape the message, it shapes the dreamscape as well. McLuhan, however, was rarely talking about the television technology in front of him. Hot and cool media, the global village, the implosion of space and time, all formed the theoretical framework and cognitive basis for the internet decades before it arrived. The smartphone in your pocket, a veritable handheld computer, is the final exclamation point on McLuhan's prophecy. And when you use that same glowing rectangle to script your dreams, you turn his quip into an almost literal truth. The medium is not only the message, it becomes the doorway into the mindscape. The intellectual chain. The intellectual chain that brings us here is surprisingly elegant. Socrates legitimized the inner conversation. Descartes declared it proof of existence. Skinner showed that behavior and thought can both be conditioned. De Bono encouraged us to escape our own thinking ruts. NLP provided the control panel. Lucid dreaming pioneers like Susan Blackmore revealed that the sleeping mind is not a dormant stage, but a living theater. McLuhan demonstrated that even our inner theater borrows its props from the technologies surrounding us. The workshop of the mind. The Mindscape is not passive, and it is not a cinema you merely watch. It is a workshop, a studio, a forge, operating in daylight and darkness, whether you pay attention or not. Dreams are not random noise, but the subconscious processing memory, emotion, expectation, and inference. When directed, dreams become an extraordinary cognitive resource, allowing the mind to explore possibilities unconstrained by physics, reputation, or consequence. In the lucid dream state, symbols behave like tools, enabling you to sculpt thoughts directly, reshaping fears, rehearsing speeches, testing strategies, or building entire worlds. The waking self then receives the results as intuition, insight, or inspiration. It feels like revelation, but it is often just the night shift doing its job. Scripting the night. This approach does not require metaphysics or mysticism. It demands only discipline, clarity, and a willingness to engage with your inner terrain, your mindscape. What matters most is emotional resonance. If the script matters to you, your dreaming mind will return to it with surprising loyalty. Some people visualize the problem written on a door they intend to open, while others imagine speaking to a wise mentor or stepping into a room where solutions appear on screens. These devices work not because they are magical, but because they organize and focus attention, and focused attention is the currency of consciousness. During sleep, attention moves differently. Linear logic dissolves and associative logic takes over. Associative logic thrives on metaphor, symbolism, and compression. It can jump from premise to conclusion with none of the friction of waking thought, and that is precisely what gives dreaming its creative power. The Mindscape as studio. This is why the Mindscape must be seen not as a passive mental backdrop, but as a pliable sandbox for collaboration between conscious intention and subconscious process. Waking life sets the questions. Dreaming life rearranges the answers. When the two work in tandem, you gain a form of round-the-clock intelligence, a continuity of thought that never fully switches off, never fully relinquishes its tools, and never stops shaping the world within you. Your dreams are not a distraction from cognition. They are an extension of it. They are part of the architecture of thinking, a second workshop running in parallel with the first. And once you recognize this, once you learn to script the night and curate the mindscape, a remarkable truth becomes clear. The Mindscape is not a passive movie screen. It is a film production studio, open 24 hours. And as the producer, film director, protagonist leading actor, and spectator all rolled into one, you already own the keys.